Hey guys, this is Jonathan. I am coming from you from Quito, Ecuador. I hope you guys could see it in the background. Um, we today had planned a live show where I was going to get to talk to you guys a little bit more about what it is to do a custom made trip, like we also like to call it internally, or sometimes when we speak with clients, tailor made trip. To give you an idea, in case with those terms you're still not too familiar with what we're referring to when we're talking about a trip here in Ecuador. Since Ecuador is so diverse, there's so much things you can do, activity-wise, accommodations, even the regions you can visit here, which are pretty much Galapagos, which is what most people know. But you also have the Andes, where we are right now in Quito, where it's pretty cold right now. And you have the coastal areas with the beaches, and you also have the Amazon, which is also very, very warm. So there's a bunch of things you can do in each of these locations, and so many ways that you can prepare them. And as you probably know, each person has their own preferences and ideas and things they want to accomplish or things they've seen online before they start planning their trip to Ecuador. So the idea with the tailor-made tour is that I pretty much get to hear you guys out, what you guys want to see, what you guys want to visit, what your interests are, and also sometimes even what you don't want to do or what you are not interested in. So in that case, what I do is hear you out and pretty much plan out an itinerary from scratch. Of course, you will always be receiving my recommendations and my personal experiences or from other clients I've had. And based on that, we can put together a very cool itinerary that you're totally going to feel that it's been tailored for you. So pretty much right now, what I would like to do is go over some of the things that a lot of the clients that contact us usually ask us when we're identifying if what they were going to need is a customized tour. So if we don't have any questions at the moment, I will proceed with that. And maybe some things come up, and you guys can always reach out to us and just send us a message on the live platform you are right now. And I'll be happy to assist as best as possible. Um, so one of the things that we usually receive from clients is if how flexible are the itineraries. Pretty much if they can choose, what could you really choose? So as I already said in the beginning, flexibility is pretty much anything that we find that is pretty much safe with a very safe local operator. Then we will be willing to do it if it's going to generate the satisfaction of what you're looking for and what a dream trip for you would be like. We are willing to do it. We'll always look into it. Everything has to be based on availability. But pretty much anything can be done. This, like I said before, hotels, the activities you could do, destinations, and of course, something very important is the amount of time you have, which this is the biggest benefit I would say from doing a tailor-made tour, that it's not something that's pre-packaged. So it doesn't mean that you need necessarily to arrive on a certain date. We can start it pretty much on any day of the year, and we can finish it whenever you want to. So we have people that have done 4 days, I'd say, is the minimum for a tailor-made tour. And we've had people do over 30 days, and sometimes even just in Ecuador, because we can also add in other countries in South America, like Peru, Bolivia, and Colombia, which are the typical ones that you like to mix with, because Ecuador is found in the middle of the world, in the south, in South America. But to the north, you have Colombia, so we can mix something like that. Sometimes people do Colombia, they come to Ecuador, go to Galapagos, come back, then go to Peru, and sometimes even add in places like Bolivia. So that's something we can do. It would be smart if you're coming to South America and you have the time to do it. We'll be willing to do that. Another thing we usually get asked is pretty much how do you get started? How do you start working with us? So it's pretty simple. You can reach out to us via email. The best email to reach out is always info@happygringo.com, or you can go to our website and you'll find in various pages a lot of the things, a lot of the places where you can leave your comments. And we pretty much ask you some questions that would help us guide ourselves to what you're probably interested in doing. So that's one of the steps. Or the other one is you can also reach out to our toll-free number. Um, so that's one of the things. And regarding about like once you're actually in touch with us, how it would be best for me to find out and my colleagues to know what they could recommend for you is definitely going to be a phone call. I always recommend that, especially for tailor-made tours. There's so many factors that come into this that on a phone call, it's much easier to get points across from one another, and it's much quicker as well than going emails back and forth. So it's just a phone call, anything between 5, 10, ideally 15, 20 minutes if you have that amount of time during one of the days in your weekdays. We would be happy to give you a call, and that usually clears up most of the things and gets us started with an itinerary. And the good thing about these itineraries is that they're it's very possible to adjust them. So what we like to do is hear you out, give you our recommendations, and then we, the salespeople, work with our operations and logistical team here, which has a lot of experience. And pretty much with all our knowledge, we put together a trip that we feel is fit for what you've told us that you're looking to do here. So we get back to you. We send you a very detailed itinerary. You already start seeing prices, the hotels that are possible in the category. You let us know that you're interested in doing and visiting. And from there, we could adjust anything: time, the activities. If there's something you like, something you probably read after and you probably want to add in, we can do that as well. So that's usually how it works. That's usually the process, but it's very simple. With our guidance, there's nothing you can't do. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, like I already mentioned, we can do anything from 4 days. Typically, it's the minimum amount of time that we would recommend that you do something in Ecuador, a customized trip, to all the way to 30 days in Ecuador would be definitely possible. There's a lot of things you can see here. Galapagos, at the very minimum, I would recommend 5 to 6 days, and anything up to 10, 12 days is amazing, especially if you're open to doing a lot of the activities and you're very, interested about the wildlife you can see there, even up to 12 days. So that's already taken up about 2 weeks. The Amazon is about, from 4 or 5, even 6 days. So that's about another week. And then depending on how much you want to see on the mainland, usually people like to see the volcanoes, the highlands, get to see more of the cultural side, and even the cloud forest and waterfalls that we have here, which are beautiful. So that would be probably another 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So yeah, you're looking at, you could possibly, if you have the amount of time, that flexibility, yeah, you're looking into maybe 30 days, but we can do anything from 4 days all the way to 30, like I said. Let's see. Another thing we usually get asked is if a customized tour like this can also be mixed with a cruise, for example. Yes, that's also a possibility. We actually do this very often. And in that regard, it's pretty much the same process, but what we personally like to do first is send over to you a list where you're going to be able to see some of the cruise options that match your budget, the amount of time you want to spend in Galapagos, maybe the animals you want to see, and your dates, which is the most important thing. So why we like to send you first like an option for the cruises and then the rest of the trip, it's because the Galapagos cruises, they do have fixed dates. So that's very different from what I mentioned earlier, that how our trips can start and end on any day you want, and also on the land-based modality of the Galapagos trips. On a cruise, they have set dates. So usually what we like to do is send over to you some options for cruises that match your ideas. And pretty much once you start figuring out what's looking more like a possibility for you, what you're interested in a little bit more, we can work the rest of the trip around those dates. Because the rest is pretty much very easy. The Amazon and the Andes, like I said, we have a very experienced team, so we know pretty much how to put everything else together around the cruise. So yeah, it's definitely possible. So yeah, that's a very good thing about Ecuador, that there's a lot of flexibility, there's a lot you can do. And that brings me to another point that is usually something that people want to know, is if there's a better time to do a certain trip here in Ecuador, there's a better dates. To be honest with you, and to put it in simple terms, Ecuador is beautiful and with great weather pretty much all year round. Sometimes it could be a little bit sunnier, sometimes it could be a little bit wetter with more rains. But overall, I would honestly say that dates, if you're flexible, there's really like, dates shouldn't be something that you should really consider highly when you're trying to make a decision of when to come to Ecuador. Pretty much all year around it's beautiful. Pretty much the wildlife remains relatively the same, especially in Galapagos and in the Amazon. The activities you could do are pretty much doable all throughout the year. But if we want to get a little bit more specific, honestly, from my experience, if you're looking to do a little bit more demanding hike from one town to another, which is something we like to do in the Quilotoa or Cotopaxi area, which is some of the requests we get a lot because it's a big highlight. What we usually recommend is to try to stay away from the February, March, and April date, so like around right now, because as you could probably see in the background, it's pretty rainy. So that would make the terrain a little bit more difficult for those long hikes. Now, if you're just gonna do a Quilotoa day trip or a Cotopaxi day trip, those regular hikes, then that shouldn't stop you. But something like that, something very specific, then we would be happy to give you our recommendations of maybe, hey, don't come at the beginning of the year, come during July, August, or at the end of the year. But relatively, we can do everything pretty much all throughout the year. In Ecuador and mostly in Galapagos, we do get the questions about the weather when it's a little bit better. It would really come down to what you would prefer. If you prefer warmer weather, for it to be a little bit hotter. Overall, Galapagos is a tropical island, so it's hot all year round. But if you want it to be a little bit hotter, you're also going to have to put up with it being a little bit rainier. So those two things match from around December, end of December, January, all the way to around April, May. And then from May all the way to December, the other half pretty much of the year, it's a little bit cooler, but it's not cold. Like I said, it's tropical, it's a tropical island, but it's a little bit cooler, but it's also drier. So it really would come down to your preferences once again, what you would prefer. But overall, it's great to come all year round. Plus, the weather can sometimes in Ecuador be unpredictable, and that's nothing bad. It's just that sometimes it could be really rainy, and hey, it might be too rainy for you or too hot for you on one of the days, and on the next day it's going to be totally the opposite. So some people here like to say that the weather is sort of like spring in other parts of the world where you have set seasons. Here it's pretty much beautiful all year round, so we're pretty lucky in that regard. Yeah, we usually get what experiences you can do during these tailor-made trips. Well, honestly, you can pretty much do everything. So we have people that in the Andes, they look to do hikes, enjoy the landscapes of the High Sierra, but they also want to do cultural experiences. So you can do that in the Andes, and I would also recommend having a cultural kind of activity, at least for one day in the Amazon, and the rest would be for wildlife spotting. In Galapagos, it's definitely what you're gonna do is it's pretty active. So it's just wildlife spotting, hiking, trying to find these animals, and snorkeling as well. You can do kayaking, you could do the stand-up paddle boards, and of course diving, which is huge. It's something that we recommend. If you have a PADI or open waters license, we would recommend that you do it here because it's one of the best places for sure. So the activities are pretty varied. We have people that ask something more specific, like some people want to have a homestay. We would recommend that in the northern area from Quito to the north, which you have the Imbabura province, in Otavalo, Cotacachi. Those places are very great to spend some very true experiences with the native Quichua people from the Andes, so we can do that. We've had people who are very interested in our food, and they also want to take part of a cooking class and learn how to do our very delicious food. So we can do that as well. So sometimes things that are very, very specific, we can accommodate. Once again, our highest priority is to make sure that we always work with local operators that we've received great feedback from. We've been around for 20 years actually. This year was our 20th birthday, so we're pretty excited about that. So yeah, 20 years, I'd say we know the country very, very well. So we work with great providers. So if they tell us it's safe, we also have the chance to do these activities ourselves during the year where we get to, see if it's good, if it's not that well. If not, we'll look for something else. But yeah, if we find that it's safe and it's given back usually great feedback, then we would be willing to do it. So yeah, just feel free to shoot away. Let us know what you would be interested in doing, and we can do that. And yeah, I don't know if maybe there is something that came through as a question or something like that. But overall, honestly, like I said, it's pretty open to do in Ecuador. You can pretty much do it all. We've been blessed with the 4 regions. Everything is at a very short distance, to be honest with you. You can go to the Amazon on a flight, but you can also go on the road on about a 3-hour drive. It will take you to the closest area from the Sierra region, the Andes to the Amazon, no more than 3 hours. If you want to go to the coastal region with the beaches, once again, 3 to 4 hours. So everything is pretty close in that regards. Yeah, we been able to. That's why we can do a lot of customized trips, because everything is relatively close to one another. And yeah, so once again, feel free to please reach out to us. Let us know all your ideas. It never hurts to ask if there's something you can do, and we will honestly always give you back our best feedback and experiences, and letting you know if there's something we can't do, we'll let you know for sure with complete honesty why we don't do it. Because not everything that sometimes you see online is actually worth doing or actually recommended. So in that regard, yeah, we always try to give out the best recommendations and tips. So yeah, our team is great in the sales department and also our operations team. So yeah, we know pretty much the country very, very well. Everybody here is willing to hear you guys out and help you out with a customized trip. There's nothing really we can't do. So I'll be excited to hear from you guys. So please, if you can and you're interested in doing a trip to Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Galapagos, the Amazon, you can reach out to us by going to our webpage. You can answer a few questions there. You can send us an email to info@happygringo.com, or look our toll-free number and give us a call. I think the live is pretty much done. I think it's been great speaking to you guys. Hopefully, I've been able to provide some good information and get you excited about coming here. It's a beautiful country, honestly. If I've had the chance to visit a lot of places, live in other countries for a few years, but I honestly adore my country because there's so much you can do. There's always something very exciting. So I hope to see you guys soon and hear from you guys soon. Take care.